Tilos has got some excellent mass haul features. So first of all, we need to set up a mass haul cell. So it's got to be on the distance axis. It's a particular sort of cell in this view. And then in the library, there are two library items to establish before we do anything else. And that is, what sort of rock have we got? So these are the mass types. So we've got some rock cut, we've got some fill, some cut, and also what sort of haulages have we got? So we've got our normal haul, and we've got a rock haul. But if we double click on that, we can set a shrinkage and a bulking and a hauling compaction factor, which will have an impact on the quantities that we're moving. So these things are set up in advance, and also in the rock, in the haulage type, we set up a template for that we'll be using for the creation of activities later on. So quite a lot is set up in the library beforehand, and then we can set up a new mass area in the mass haul diagram. So we're going to give this a name. So this is going to be C1. Its ID will be C1. This is for cut 1. And we're going to choose what sort of mass type this is. So this is going to be a cut section. It's starting at 100 meters and it's going to 300 meters, and the amount of material that we're going to move is going to be 10,900 cubic meters. So when I say an OK, it's going to create an activity in a mass haul activity area in this area. So if I then look at the project data under distance, we've got a mass haul area section, and so here we've got the mass area that we have. We can also import those values from Excel generally, and here's one that I've done previously. So here we have all of the mass areas established. We've got a diagram showing us the ground condition and the final road condition. So where it's green, it's a cut, and where it's blue, it's a fill. And in the upper diagram, we've got a mass balance, so we can see where we're short and where we are have too much material for stockpile. So what we've got to do now is say that we're going to take this cut item and we're going to put it in this fill. So we do that, we can do that manually, we could do that by import. So I'm going to take it from cut to fill 1, and it's just a normal one, so it's taking all of our normal bulkage and shrinkages. And so we're moving, we've got some annotations that are playing out on the diagram. We can control where the arrows start and end from, the size of the font, and what the annotations are saying. So if we wanted to add a quantity after them, for example, we would do it on these labels, and this is setting the font size as well. So we're moving it from this area to that. So we're going to we can relocate those areas. So we're going to also show on the mass haulage diagram, we're going to show the haul quantity. So we've moved everything out of C1 and we haven't filled up F1 yet. So we're going to do the same thing again from C2, and it's still our normal one, and we've now nearly filled up F1, but there's still a little bit left. So we're going to take some of our C3 and we're also going to put that in the mass area here. So that's filled up the whole of F1, but it hasn't taken all of everything from C3. So we can see how much is left, how much has been moved, and we can then take the rest of that into another fill area in this way. So Tilos is really quite good at balancing that out. We can take our rock area, we're going to move that to our crusher. So we're going to crush the rock and we're going to use it for fill later. This is where we choose our different haulage type, which has got its different shrinkages and quantities, and we can have different line symbols for that, so we can show that in a different way on the diagram. So So here's one where I've got all of the lines, haulage lines, already intact. So what we can do now is we can take one or more haulage lines. So I can select one or more haulage lines and I can right mouse click on them, and I can say that I want to create cut and fill activities from them. So this is a matching cut from the quantity and fill the corresponding quantity with bulking items in the fill area. We can set the date we want these to start on the diagram, and so it's created these two activities, and the quantities are related to those that are held in that particular cut area. So, and if we ever change that, it would change in this regard too. So it's so easy to create activities pre-linked with a quantity factor, so that can also scale how long this might take. So maybe we can only do this one at 1,000 cubic meters a day, and if we reschedule that, we can see the impact that has on the diagram. So if we were then to see the final diagram where we've got all of the pieces in place, this is how you can build up a mass haul diagram, but also the activities of actually doing the cut and fill, and see how they have an impact on time in a very intelligent way.